Hi folks, this is Hariom for CVNR. Today we are going to talk about the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system, right? Especially the amygdala, hippocampus, and things like that. Primarily, what I'm trying to focus today is on how we can calm the nervous system via information we give to our patients, right? Now, one of the interesting parts about the brain is it gets very anxious very fast, and so if there is a danger signal, right? We know that pain is a danger signal, and this signal, when it goes to your limbic system, right? It goes to your limbic system, and the limbic system consists of the hippocampus, the amygdala, the thalamus, hypothalamus, probably the cingulate cortex and things like that, right? When it goes to the limbic system sees this signal which is coming in, and what it does is it makes a decision. It makes a decision that, okay, the building is burning. What can I do? Either I can sort of fight, right? Or I can get frightened and I can sort of run away from it, or I can also go like this, right? Get tensed up and things like that. One of the reasons why you get spasm and things like that. And the other thing the limbic system does very well is it is involved in memory. You know that we can make up what we call as an associated memory, right? You associate two things with each other, right? You associate, say, for example, Rajinikanth with style and movies which are literally useless, but we all enjoy it. We don't know why. We associate our maths teacher with horrible, the devil incarnate or something like that. So what our patients may also associate, and that can also be learned. Say, for example, driving and pain, bending forward and pain. There is no proper posture in sleeping, so that can lead to pain. And out of all these things, and the most important thing, the medical professionals, starting from the orthopedician, neurologist, and the physiotherapist, telling the patient the spine is this and that, the disc has slipped, and things like that, and whatever nonsense you can think of, right? Out of alignment. I can't say other things. I feel like I feel sorry to say all the other things. All right. So when we have all sorts of problems or all sorts of things which we are teaching our patients, what happens is the brain is associating these things. That is, my back is like this, that's why I have pain. I'm not in a proper posture, so I have pain. All these things are associated, and they are stored as memories. And the hippocampus is very important for this memory formation, and they go and tell the other part of the cortex, store all these things for posterity also, right? So they want this to be here. So our patients, every time they are driving a bike, they may be always constantly fearing that they may get a pain. When they are bending, they may be constantly in fear and things like that, right? So the next part you want to, in this scheme of things, is your prefrontal cortex, right? Now this part of your brain is called as the prefrontal cortex. Now the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system are connected very well. Unlike your smaller mammals like the rat and things like that, the prefrontal cortex is smaller, right? What it means is the limbic system makes most of your decision, right? The limbic system are your primary crude emotions, all your desires, right? Your sex drive, your hunger drive, your pain drive, all these things are controlled mostly by your limbic system, But as the mammals grew and evolved, we all started growing a big prefrontal cortex, and the frontal cortex sort of uh, exerts an exerts a pressure, or it exerts control over the limbic system. That is, the limbic system can be they can be made okay, calm down, or they can be like, okay, start fighting or start screaming, this is a danger thing, and things like that. So they have a good control over that, and as we all know that they are mostly in problem solving, planning, social control. That's why you don't go and hit somebody who is on the road which you are irritated, but you don't go and hit him. But we also have to understand that the prefrontal cortex sort of grows until your late 20s and things like that. That's why social control is poor, especially in your adolescence and during the college. Right. So what does this prefrontal cortex has to do with your pain? As you can imagine, the prefrontal cortex can have a lot of control over your PAG, your nucleus accumbens, and it gives you lots of information or connection to all parts of the brain. Now, what is the advantage of giving a connection to PAG is the PAG is important in as you all know, PAG is important in controlling the brain, the pain, sorry. It can produce serotonin, dopamine, glutamate, that kind of things. And they can reduce your pain and things like that. And they also can lead to other problems also. That is, when you have chronic pain, they can also influence other parts of the brain, so that you're getting more and more frightened and more afraid of the pain, and then you are getting more and more depressed. That kind of hormones are secreted. The brain is more anxious, not the brain, but the connections and things like that makes it more anxious. Right. So what does it all mean? If you are having a pain, right? If you are having some sort of pain, then what I have done is I am assuming that is the brain is on fire, right? You can do two things if your brain is on fire. You can sort of get a fireman and dose it off, right? Or you can pour more kerosene in that, or you can even put your extinguisher on fire also, right? What do I mean by that? You can tell your patient that your back posture and your eating habits, you ate a lot of potatoes, so you have gas, and you can also say that you didn't do your exercise properly, that's why you have pain. You can say that your disc has come out, so you need surgery. They are the more intelligent people in the whole of medical professional, the orthosurgeons, right? When it comes to cold orthopedics, right? So these kind of things you have to be aware. That is how to be this person. That is how to be an extinguisher of fire, right? As I told you, the prefrontal cortex is about decision making, understanding, all these higher things. So remember, a patient is a person with higher intelligence than most of us, right? So teach them how this pain is happening, how we can control it, why it is not a bad thing all the time, why all sorts of nonsensical ideas spread on the net and other medical professionals tell them is not true most of the time. So basically teach them to calm down, right? It seems to work efficiently most of the time, right? We also know that when you are having a chronic pain, right? When you have chronic pain, these regions, that is your prefrontal region, gets smaller, that is, it loses gray matter, the connections between some parts of the brain, the prefrontal cortex and the limbic systems can be lesser, some parts can be more. Basically, that is what we call it as plasticity. We also know that some secretions like your dopamine, serotonin can be reduced if you have a lot of pain. Those channels can also be viciously changed dramatically. And there is also good things also we learn from fMRI and things like that. That is, they have found out that people who do mindfulness, right, a form of meditation, they actually can bring about all the gray matter again. They can change their limbic system. They don't have to fire regions which mostly we fire when we have pain. So there are good amount of studies to tell us that probably the changes are also reversible. Probably a certain amount of reversibility is possible, and we can get over all these things, right? So what's my end note? Okay, right? So whenever you are teaching your patient about making them understand about pain, right, you are doing a lot of things to the patient's brain. That is a powerful tool. Remember, information is the most important thing, right? And understanding that information is basically from your frontal cortex, and that is a powerful tool for you to control the pain, right? So don't just rely on your exercise and your other passive modalities. Always teach them or make them understand about pain. Thank you so much and for listening to our videos consistently. If you're not watching our videos properly, we're not going to give you a gift. So next time we are going to ask you some questions, and also thinking of giving us gifts for people who answer those things. Right. Thank you so much. And if you want to see videos like this, subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Bye.